Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 107. We're talking about how to make life more sustainable for educators. I've got an awesome guest with me, and I'm not going to lie. I am going to probably butcher her last name, even though, and I should have asked before we even got started, hey, how do you pronounce your last name? Because that's the respectful thing to do. It's fine. But I have with me today, Rae Hughart. Huggart. I see her in the background. She's going to come on screen here in just a little bit and correct me. But I'm so excited to have her with us tonight. And listen, a team is only as strong as the people in it. And when teachers are running on empty, the whole system suffers. So in this episode, we're going to be talking with Rae, founder of Teachers Deserve It, all about real strategies for making teaching more sustainable so educators and, of course, the teams that they are part of can thrive. I do want to shout out one little extra announcement, guys. The CEC 2025 conference is just 1 week away. And so 1 week from today, I'm going to be bringing my message to the stage about breaking down the barriers that create silos in organizations. And we're going to be talking about how we can help people to build a culture of collaboration so everyone in the organization thrives. So if this sounds like a message that would be a fit for your upcoming event or your teams, hit me up. You'll see contact info at the end of this show. With all of that said, I think we should dive into today's conversation. Hey there, welcome to the Catching Up with Casey show. If you are tired of chasing buy-in, frustrated by teams who just can't seem to get on the same page, or over the constant struggle of holding people accountable without feeling like you're micromanaging, this is the show for you. I'm Casey Watts, team leadership expert and the host of this show. I specialize in clarity, collaboration, and character, and I help leaders just like you take teams from chaos to cohesion, from frustration to alignment, so teams can actually work together toward a common purpose instead of against each other as though they are functioning in different organizations. Whether you lead a single team or a team of teams, on this show, we talk about strategies that are going to help you create a culture where accountability and autonomy go hand in hand. Now, with all of that said, let's dive into today's conversation and build cohesive, vision-driven teams. Hey, Rae, how's it going?
Oh, it's so good. I'm so honored to be here. Casey, you have no idea. I'm stoked to have our conversation, connect with your network. It's going to be a ball.
Yeah. So tell us how you pronounce your last name.
You know what? Everyone butchers it, myself included. Okay. You don't need to get the last name correct. The first name's everything that matters. And you said my first name beautifully. But hi, everyone. My name's Rae Hughart. It's like Hugh Grant with an ert. Yeah. But it looks like Hughart. It looks like Hughart. I mean, it looks how people say it. So whether it's right. Hughart or Hughart, I'll take it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, awesome. Then I'm glad I butchered it for you. And, makes it easy for people to make mistakes, right? That's what it's all about. Make mistakes, you learn from it, and then you move on. Hughart, I will always remember that.
Well, I wish there was an E in it, because if it was Hughart and like spelled like heart, then that would be the cutest teacher name ever. Hughart, right?
It would be perfect. Perfection.
Yeah, think of all the like little logos you could do with like a heart and a hug. Yeah, no, it's none of that. It's like Hugh Grant with an ert, and it's ugly, and it is what it is. Hi guys, you can call me Rae.
Yeah, and Rae is such an easy, like it's just quick and it's easy and it falls off the tongue really quickly. Yeah,
so good, so good.
So tell us a little bit about the work that you do, Rae.
Oh gosh, I have the dream job, to be honest. I get to work with educators all over, primarily in the US and Canada, and we get to talk about how to make your life just a little bit easier. We focus on sustainable teaching practices. So it's not those like massive, big changes. There's not some perfect like trick that just you haven't heard of yet, and suddenly, boom, your job's 100 times easier. But it's little tips and tricks that can save you a minute here, 5 minutes here, 30 seconds. And those really add up. And my goal, I know this is like maybe not kosher to say, but my goal is to allow educators to grab cocktails with their friends once a week, right? To have the time to make it home for bedtime and to maybe even have an opportunity to be like a couch potato and catch an episode of a show that they wanted to watch. And we can do that by making educators' jobs more sustainable, giving them their time back and allowing them to take a little more control over the work that's happening so they can focus on what really matters, their students and themselves.
Yeah, I love that so much. And we're going to dive so much more into this, but just my immediate thought in response to everything that you said is if like when our teachers, especially new teachers, are coming into the profession, they have not learned the skill of balance or prioritizing or how to make things sustainable. And part of that is they just have no idea just yet about the workload that it is. And so, I just wish there was a course or a really high focus in college courses in education about how to manage your time, how to prioritize your self-awareness and social awareness skills, like all of that should be embedded in those courses.
It's funny you say that. We are working with a few different universities right now to develop partnerships to get future teachers access to our Learning Hub. And the reason that is our avenue is because our Learning Hub is full of courses, but with really, really specific objectives for each course. Not in the sense that like, oh, good, I can outline these 5 things I'm going to learn. It's one objective. Here is how to save time in your inbox. Done. Here is how to save, time conferencing with your students and make it really effective, but have it be 33% more efficient, right? And that allows those future teachers, whether they be future teachers or other people in our school systems, to start kind of chewing on those practices so they can start implementing them as early as they're ready.
Yeah, I'm thinking about myself right now. Even in my current job, I'm not even a classroom teacher, but I'm like, shoot, I could use a really quick one objective course on this very specific thing. And it makes it so much more attainable, like I'm not overwhelmed by this course that I might purchase it and then I never go to it because it's just too much.
Yes.
But the way that you're approaching it sounds like this is approachable and doable.
And we give you as many templates and checklists that are included in like our download that we give for every course that like humanly possible. I think we spend more time brainstorming what downloads should be included and like how we can like creatively think of even more to put in there than even the course content. Like it sounds terrible, but we are constantly doing an audit of, well, what if there's a teacher that needs a template for, and it's like, I don't even care if it's one teacher out of the million that we're going to impact this year. If there's a template and you need it, we've got it for you.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Okay, so here's what I want to start with. I usually start and I've just kind of jumped into the content, but let me go back to some this or that questions because I usually ask my guests some this or that questions just to get you to know you on a little bit more of a personal level. So here's the first related to life, and I think this is perfect for you. Would you rather always have to sing everything you say or always dance wherever you go?
Okay, usually this or that's are like terrible. In this one, I'm like, I'll do both. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna go with sing. Oh, maybe not. My background was in dance. Okay, here's the deal. I'm gonna go sing because I think that would make people giggle. I think if I danced sometimes, people would be like, "Oh, that's not cool. Don't do that."
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, mine would probably be dance everywhere I go. Like I'm just, although I hum all the time. I kind of have this bad habit of humming when I go to the bathroom. So I'm like, I'm going to do that one day in a public restroom, and it's just going to be the weirdest thing, but somebody's going to make a story out of it. So
yeah, it'll be like, guys, I was in the airport and you will not believe what experience I had. And you'll make their whole day that they're like, some crazy lady was humming in the bathroom.
exactly. That's exactly right. I'm here for it. Okay. Here's the next one. And um, it is more focused on education and like leadership. Do you prefer leading from the front and setting like the vision and tone, or leading from the middle and guiding and supporting?
I really believe that I am strong as a facilitator of the experience. Like, I am not the content delivery. I kind of joke, this is a new gig. This Teachers Deserve It movement that obviously we'll talk about is my, new journey of understanding who I am and understanding what I can offer. I am not like the person you're going to book as a keynote. Like, I could do it, but there are people out there that are amazing at keynoting. Like, I would pay money, get on a plane, and go watch them speak. So I would say that I'm more of in the middle, because the person who's the leader that's like setting the tone, I want them to be like inspirational and funny and creative. And like, I know people that are really good at that. So I would put them there. And then I would be in the middle, kind of like getting the facilitation going.
Yeah. Yeah. Getting down and dirty with it.
I also am terrible. I love being the person that, like, when the person in charge shares a question and like nobody's jumping in and there's like awkward silence, I'll be the one to speak up. So
Yeah.
I'm good in the middle, because I think that there's a lot more roles to play there.
Yeah, I love that. And it's such an important such an important role to play. And I don't know that a whole lot of people know the value that people like you can bring to the table. So that's fantastic. Okay. So let's talk about what our whole purpose for this episode is making life more sustainable in the teaching profession. And, this show is all about building cohesive teams, but this is a really important part of that, because so many teachers feel overwhelmed, right? I want to know your perspective on how that impacts the teams that they are a part of.
So when we were working on the Teachers Deserve It movement, a big question that we wanted to make sure we understood as a team before we started bringing these ideas and strategies to others was, what are we aiming to solve? And while bringing educators sustainable practices so they can go get, like happy hour drinks with their friends is a part of it, a bigger vision, the actual impact that we're seeing and we want to continue to make, is on the systemic issues in education, the retention focus, bringing educators into the field, sub shortages. And that's a real focus for us right now. So we know and we feel confident that when educators have sustainable practices that allow them to more easily manage and enjoy their jobs, you have educators that show up better for students and that stick around longer, that speak positively about the profession, that allow substitutes to come in and have an easier job, which makes them want to come back. All these things are a big part of our focus.
Yeah, so like this trickle effect. If we can make this happen, then these things naturally fall into place. And that it's the same with the teams that they're a part of. Because if I can function better as a team member, then I know that my team is going to be better for it. That's awesome. Tell us, though, the biggest misconceptions about making teaching more sustainable, because we hear it all the time, but I think we all come to the table with different ideas about it.
I think the biggest misconception about helping educators essentially fall in love with their job again by using efficient and effective practices is that there is like 5 you need to know and then it's all fixed.
Yeah.
In my previous role, I worked in an organization that really believed in mastery learning, which, by the way, I'm a huge advocate for. Like, I love mastery learning. The way that they were approaching it was this really big undertaking. Like, you needed to get an educator in the perfect spot of their life to essentially overhaul their system, throw everything out that they've ever known, and start again. And in this new role, we really acknowledging that is not possible. That will happen with one teacher out of the 2,000 that you might interact with in a day, and we need to try and reach everybody. So I think
Mm-hmm.
the biggest misconception is that there's like a foolproof fix that, if you had this one trick, it would fix everything you're focused on. And the reality is that there's hundreds of things that you could be doing that might, depending on the type of teacher you are and the community you serve and your students, might be the right solution for you. And we just need, to get those in your hands, and you need to essentially, as the educator, handpick what works best for you.
Yeah. And I feel like that's one fantastic thing about what you're providing is it sounds like they have autonomy and choice in setting goals for themselves and thinking about what it is that they need.
Well, and to add to that, so much of the work that we're doing has different lifts, right? There might be a change that takes a little bit more effort, a little bit more practice, or the educators that I interact with who are like, Rae, I am burned out, I'm tapped out, I need a nap, like I'm not ready. We actually have solutions for them too that are so much smaller of a lift, almost nothing to them.
Yeah.
And what I like about that is that it makes it approachable for everybody.
Yeah, that's awesome. So great. Let's talk about, you've talked about how you're partnering with some universities to get some of your resources into new teachers' hands. But let's talk about the teachers that are already in the thick of it and their leaders. How do the leaders on these campuses that already have overwhelmed teachers create systems that support that teacher efficiency without it feeling like they're adding more to their plates?
So there's a few strategies that we could go with this. Do you mean educators that are like working with us, like admins who, when they come to us and they're like, Rae, what's our plan? Or do you mean if you're listening right now and you're a leader, where can you get started?
Ooh, nope. Let's go with, I don't know either. Both. Let's do both. Both
Okay.
directions, because I actually was going to ask both questions today.
Okay.
So
Well, I'm so sorry
let's
to
do
take
it.
us off track.
Nope.
Okay,
Do it.
let's go how we do it. And then if you are an educator listening, we'll do second, because then there's some actions you can take right off that. First and foremost, I don't believe professional development can ever be a broad brushstroke, right? We have to give educators the personalized learning that we hopefully want them to have with their student body. So my favorite thing ever is to go and do a school audit, which is, oh my God, Casey, you and I should do it together sometime. It's the most fun part of my job. So essentially, I get to walk into whatever school I'm working with. I take a full day or two, depending on how large their staff is, and I visit every single classroom and engage with every single person in the school ecosystem. This includes paraprofessionals, this includes the teachers, this includes the administration, and we just compile a boatload of notes. Every single person leaves that experience with a positive note from us personally that highlights at least 5 to 8 things that we saw that are really strong. This is perfect for an evaluation. Stick that data in there and be like, Rae visited my classroom and she said I was really good at this. Here's the quote she pulled, right?
Yeah.
But the other thing is, it's also a feel good. Here's a ton of stuff you're doing well. Like, I think teachers, as much as they need personalized feedback for areas of improvement, we need personalized feedback for areas of success as well.
Yeah.
In addition, I also leave every single educator that we evaluate with a leading question, a guiding question. You might do this already, I just didn't see it. So, what can we kind of learn from them? We then partner every single person in the building, including the paraprofessionals, with essentially a personalized course track, right? Here are the 3 courses that I think would be the easiest for you. Here's the timeline, here are the objectives. Obviously, take whatever you want from the Learning Hub, but these 3 seem to be really in your niche of areas that you are going to so easily be successful in if you went around this, went this route of improvement. And then we get to do follow-up sessions. We get to, pop in 3-4 times throughout the year and see how it's going, have those like one-on-one or small group coaching sessions. Like, it's so fun to build those relationships. And and partner. And when it comes to an administrator listening who may not be going into this whole system, the biggest element that I can tell you is an administrator is more successful when they have these small sustainable tips and tricks in their back pocket. It may not apply to an administrator how to have a more efficient student-teacher conference or interaction in the classroom for their day-to-day life. But if you see a teacher that is, focusing on that and wants to improve that area, it's so good to have that in your toolbox, to be able to pull that out and say, hey, here's an idea for you. So as much as we need to bring all this, all these tools and resources to teachers, we also need to support our administrators so they can also bring them to the teachers. And that's a huge focus in wherever you are as an administrator. And we can get into specific time-saving tips if we need to in this pod. There's some really good ones that seem to be popular, but as an admin, you just got to collect those little time-saving tips, keep them in your back pocket, and bring them out to just make a teacher's day.
Yeah. So then my question is, let's say someone wants to access these resources, but they haven't quite committed to working with you guys in coming in with them. So is there a possibility for that?
Oh my God, absolutely. So the Teachers Deserve It goal is just to give resources and give everyone access. So we have a podcast that's super popular. We have an episode every Wednesday that comes out. We have a blog. We publish like 5 to 10 blogs a week. We have our learning hub. If you do the all access membership, you literally get access to every single course. We do our courses in bundles. So they're like, teachers deserve their time back. And it's like 5 bundles or 5 courses. And then it's like teachers deserve creativity, and it's like 7 courses all together. So with the membership, you get everything, and then you can cancel at any time. So I always joke, if you are tight on cash, but you're looking for resources, go to the Learning Hub. You get a 3-day free trial, steal every download because they're so good. They're in the intro section. So it's so easy, like pop in, download, done, and then cancel your membership because then you get all these tools and resources. I'm the worst CEO. Don't tell my team. I say to everybody, I'm like, guys, for 3-day trial, save your money. If it's not your vibe, but like go steal the downloads because the templates are good. Checklists are good. Reflection questions, stuff like that.
Right. I could see this being so beneficial for facilitators that work with like PLCs or even just collaborative planning teams, or instructional coaches who are leading teachers, and having that as a resource, just knowing like, here is what our umbrella of focus is for our campus. Here's what your personalized goal is. Let's go into Teachers Deserve It and see what we can utilize to support you.
Well, and the best part is that because all the content in the Learning Hub is so specific and it's objective, there really isn't any confusion on what you're looking to get out of the course. So it's so easy to be able to just kind of scroll through the titles and be like, oh, I don't have an issue with my inbox, so I'm not going to take the one focused on, automating my inbox.
Right.
So it kind of helps because you can kind of go through the list and see if it applies to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I was working with a teacher who's like, I'm just not quite sure what my goal is, that gives you a bank to kind of go through and almost self-assess, like, where am I with these different categories and what's going to be the best fit for me? That's so awesome. I see so many different ways this could be utilized. Not only like if you are a teacher who's unfortunately having to pay out of pocket, if that's you, this is for you. But if you are an instructional leader and you can get access to this for your teachers, my gosh, the possibilities of this are endless.
We have a whole course, download everything. It's actually a free download too, all on not paying for this out of pocket, all on different ways, different supports on how to get this covered. So if anyone needs anything, please feel free to reach out. And if you're not sure what course to take and looking through the list isn't helping, just DM me. Like, let's hop on a call and let's chat. Honestly, even just a short conversation to get to know them, Casey, you're able to then make a recommendation. I know all the courses in there, and I know all the courses even coming out this month in there. So I'm able to, very quickly sit down with somebody and say, actually just wait another week because the course coming out this week's gonna be really beneficial. And we're putting out a bundle every single month, meaning that you're getting somewhere between 3 to 8 new courses every month. Something I love about that is just the opportunity to say, you know what, there isn't a course that's solving the problem you're requesting. We'll have it within 30 days. Like, I will put that on the team priority list. And that's how it should be. We need to be intentional with our personalized support, and we need to be responsive to our community.
Yeah. I could also see teachers going through some of this work together and collaborating together to make it so much more impactful, right? And have just that accountability partner. There's nothing like having that. So that kind of leads me to my next question, which is related to collaboration. Do you feel like the role is in collaboration in regards to burnout and increasing that teacher retention?
Collaboration's huge, and we all know that. I think the biggest misconception is that collaboration has to look a certain way. The reality is that depending on the type of educator you are, your collaboration might look different than the person down the hall. Okay, this is so funny. I just caught up with an educator that I collaborated with so much when I was in the classroom. I used to be a math teacher at the middle level, and I love like creativity. I brought the community into my classroom constantly. I had so many things I loved. As far as like content though, I was not a math whiz, right? Like I can break down the standards. I know how to do things, but I don't have a math brain, which I think could in some regard like enhance how I taught it. But I then was, clever enough, thank goodness, to find an educator that I could collaborate with who was really math smart, like Jessie Lynch. She is so bright in mathematics. She understands so much of how it works. So we were a perfect collaboration because I would do the fun creativity, whatever. And I had this other person who brought their strengths into the collaboration. So I think rather than having some large suggestion on collaboration, it's really about knowing yourself, knowing your strengths, and then trying to focus your collaboration on bringing in as many outside voices as possible.
Yeah, I joke sometimes. Well, it's not even really a joke. This is really what I want to do. But when I get on a TEDx stage, because that's a goal, that's on my bucket list.
Oh
My
my God.
topic,
We have to talk about that next. I'm
okay.
going to take over this pod. We're talking about that next.
But my topic is, I haven't decided on the title just yet, but it is about changing the way that we go about onboarding our teams, really, because we spend such a significant amount of time in the beginning of the school year focused on all of these logistical things, but our teams don't have time to really and truly get to know each other in a way that matters. Like, we're learning about surface level things, but we're not learning about we don't have the self-awareness. We don't have the social awareness to know, like, here's where I can add value to my team. Here's where others can add value, but also what is it that I need from my team and how am I going to communicate that to them? So there are just so many things that I think we're missing out on that could bring our teams to another level and make teaching more sustainable for them.
Yeah, I wonder if that would be a good like course topic in our learning hub, which maybe we should collaborate on. But like, what are those, if you had a half an hour with the people that you're expected to collaborate with, what would you need to ask? What are the things that you'd want to know? And it's not just, oh, do they have kids, or, oh, do they have pets? But, what's one thing you wish you were better at, or what's a strength that, gun to your head, what's the best thing that you're good at right now? And I wonder, that would be a really good, quick and easy, thing that would be a great guide for a leader to then snag and bring to their next collaboration.
Absolutely. I'm even thinking about, like, it shouldn't take us months and months or a full school year to realize that one of our team members needs processing time. Yes. Like, some people need time to process what they're hearing, and we make the most bizarre assumptions about why they're not speaking in the moment, when in reality, it's just they need time to process what we're saying. And then some of us are like, like we're processing as we're talking, and it's overwhelming.
Yes.
That's me.
Oh my God. I totally agree. Yeah, this would be a really good topic. We're gonna have to collaborate, get something in the hands of your
Yeah.
listeners. This will be good.
Yeah.
Tell me about this TED thing. I'm taking over the podcast right now. Are you getting on the stage? It's like the best experience. You have to do it.
It's on the bucket list. I have so many other things going on right now that I'm like, I can't even put my mind on it, but soon.
Okay. So for those of you who might also have this goal, going and speaking on a TED stage, in my opinion, is the best PD I've ever done in my entire life. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. To be completely honest, I will do it again because I have so many things I have to improve. Casey, the application process is not too robust, and there's a lot of leeway time between when you apply and when you actually get accepted and go on the stage. You gotta like pick one day next week that you focus 3 hours on it and like send out some applications.
Yeah. Okay. Then
Do
it's
it.
on my
Yeah.
to-do list
Yeah,
next week.
no, it is. And if I can help, please let me know. There's some
Yeah.
like strategy stuff, but I'm sure you can see all that online. But
Yeah.
it was the hardest thing I ever did, but the best professional development I've ever had. I've never gotten such, how do I phrase this? Tough feedback
Yeah.
ever in my life.
So funny.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I know it's so different. So I enjoy speaking, presenting. I love like keynoting, but that's so much more interactive than TEDx. And so I
Yes.
know it's just a different, like I have to shift my mindset around it.
It is so different. It is
Yeah.
nothing like I know you're an amazing speaker. I haven't even gotten to see you speak, but knowing on the pod, like you are, I'm sure, engaging on stage and you're bumping, like jumping around and you're getting people to laugh and share their thoughts. TED is like so rigid. Like you have to submit your word by word presentation and then you have to hit the mark 80% success or it's not considered a TED talk. And you can like go through the entire process of filming and doing everything and then like a month later they can be like, no, I'm sorry, you didn't qualify, and then they just like take it off the website. It's crazy.
Wow.
It's crazy. But you got to try it.
Okay. Yeah. And it's kind of like applying for a job. Like you don't just stop after the first time, you just keep going. So
You
just going to
just keep
apply again.
going. Yes,
Yeah,
I have so many
absolutely.
recommendations for you. Let me know if you need any help with that.
Okay. Yeah.
It was great.
Awesome. And so therefore you have a TED Talk that people can find.
Oh yeah, go check it out, guys. I teach you a fun party trick during my TED Talk, but it's called Better Than YouTube. If you go to TED.com, you can just search Rae Hughart.
Okay.
Better Than YouTube. I teach you a cool party trick. Yeah, it's all focused on natural learning.
Love it. Okay. Earlier in this episode, you mentioned something about time and time saving. And I do want to kind of reel back to that. What are some small but powerful shifts that teachers and leaders could make to reclaim their time and balance?
All right, guys, there are some really popular ones. So I apologize if you heard me speak on these already. There's obviously more, but the first one that just seems to really hit with anyone that I'm speaking to the majority of the time is automating your inbox. If you are looking to save time in your day, save stress in your day, there are some really easy things you can do once that will help you for the rest of your email experience. So one thing you should set up right now is go over to your inbox, set up a vacation mode. Even though you're not on vacation, you're going to work, and it will essentially mimic an automatic reply to any email that you set up. And I can go through so many different pieces of this, but here's the general structure. When you go into your inbox to set up this vacation mode, the first thing you're going to do is acknowledge that you got the email. You're going to thank them, tell them that you are going to get back to them within a specific amount of time. You set that 24 hours, 48 hours, whatever it is. And, share your warmth and appreciation with them. The next piece is you are going to invite them to reflect on the email they sent you and ask if it's better in an email or if they should book a meeting or a phone call with you. Give them your Calendly link and say, hey, if you feel like this topic would be better discussed together, here's a link to set that up. Send them straight to your calendar. Next section is then all about you, your classroom, or your, leadership. Create a bolded list. Hey, in the meantime, while you're waiting for me to get back to you, here are very common things that people ask me for. If you're an educator, it's where's the grade book? Where's my missing assignments? Here's the link. Do you need a call in an absence? Here's the phone number. Are you looking for a great book recommendation for your reader at home? Here is our fall readers list. Include everything. You can change this at any point. I have a lot of educators that tell me they do it seasonally, but just put a whole list of stuff with a whole list of resources. And at the very bottom, just say, thanks so much. Sincerely, you. Now, you, of course, are going to reply to every email you get at some point. But this is going to save you so much time. We just spoke to a number of different educators who actually have been implementing this. The most staggering statistics we've gotten are that on average, we're seeing teachers save 5 hours a week by simply
Wow.
5 hours. Can you believe that? The things you could do in 5 hours? It's unbelievable.
Oh my gosh.
5 hours a week, you could go binge Paradise, which is a really good show on Hulu, guys. That's so good. But this is great. It's going to, first off, give the people that email you immediate satisfaction. They're going to feel seen. They're going to hear the tone through your email that you care about them. And your email might already solve their problem. So they might get back to you and be like, never mind, I don't need it. I got what I needed. The other element is it eases your stress because now you don't need to go to your inbox. You have already replied to them. So you can go to your email only a few times a day, once in the morning, once in the evening, whatever it needs to be, because you've already set an expectation. You've already allowed them to get a reply from you. There's no immediate stress. So this is a huge time saver. We're seeing administrators use it, teachers use it, everything in between.
Yeah, even I have started using it. I don't know if my colleague Curtis Hewson has interviewed you or not, or just been in contact with you, but he does the same thing.
Oh, good.
And I got an automatic reply from him, and it followed very much the same format that you just described. And then I got an automatic reply from you with that format, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to do this. I have to do this. So I set it up, and it's fantastic.
And I love it. I love it because it truly solves the majority of reasons people are emailing me. And I like it. And if nothing else, guys, worst case scenario, you're still going to reply to that email, right? Like
Right.
if this person emails you and they receive this automatic response, it's just extra. So you're not hurting anyone. Maybe they have access to something that they weren't even asking about. Maybe they don't need to know your readers list, but when they get it, they're like, oh, maybe I should look into a book for my child, right? So
yeah,
it's a win-win. And that's a really easy one. The other one I really love, and administrators or anyone in leadership, keep this in your back pocket because it saves so many people time. But for the teachers that are doing any sort of student interaction, it doesn't matter how. It's either, the teacher doing a formal conference or just a quick pop-in. We have collected over 80 research studies that you will save 33%. You will be 33% more efficient and effective if both you and the student are standing up during your conversation. This applies also to adults. So if you are having a one-on-one or small group interaction, do not sit down. Have everybody involved, have all parties on their feet during this interaction. It'll be more efficient, more effective. You'll save a boatload of time.
Very interesting. And something I would not have expected is so impactful.
Well, think about it. I mean, so many of us, when we're meeting with our principal, right, we go into the office and we sit down. Or we're pulling students and we bring them back to the kidney table and everyone sits down. It's not a bad thing to be seated. Don't get me wrong. I'm seated right now, and so are you, Casey. But this really, the energy, like, have you ever sat down and been like, whoosh, right? Like all the energy. So you're creating a lot of transition. And sometimes you want that transition, and you can use it strategically. If you're going into your principal's office and you're in a leadership role like a principal, you might want people to sit down and have that whoosh of energy where gosh, how are you? Right? This
Yeah.
might be a strategic tool you use. But if you want it to be efficient and effective, which sometimes, depending on the conversation you do, keep them on your feet because the energy stays in the whole body and it allows you to be more dynamic.
Yeah. When I'm doing episodes, like my podcast episodes that are by myself and I'm not interviewing anyone, I'm standing. I have my standing desk. I'm standing the whole time. There is a different vibe to it for
Yeah.
sure.
And so
That's
it's
awesome.
really easy. Keep that in your back pocket. Get on your feet. It's a great one.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. Okay. Just hearing these guys, because this is part of what you teach and teachers deserve it, right?
This is it. This is literally, you got the whole kick and caboodle. That's literally what we focus on. What are the small things that will help you today? That's our goal.
Yeah. It's the smallest things that have the biggest impact. That's awesome. How do you feel like teachers deserve it helps educators feel more valued and equipped to thrive?
Oh my
You've
gosh.
described it so much already, but I know you have more to say.
Okay, friends, Casey, this is my favorite question of all time. So Teachers Deserve It started from a book. We actually wrote a book, Teachers Deserve It, in 2020. I co-authored it with Adam Welcome. That's an incredible opportunity and long story that I won't get into. But that book, the chapters are structured very strategically. We had a lot of discussion off of this. Essentially, the chapter titles are called Teachers Deserve insert something here, right? Teachers deserve respect, for example. And the chapter is then broken up into 3 parts. It's why do you deserve respect? So like really diving into that why you don't have it, and like complaining about like why don't you have it? That's wrong that teachers aren't respected. And then the last section is, so what are you as the reader going to go do about it? Because you can't demand respect. So what are the steps you are going to take as a human being to start to be a part of the change? And that's essentially what led to the Teachers Deserve It movement, because this one book obviously couldn't have everything in it. And I will tell you, the simplest things that we've been able to see educators implement to get this respect back in their space. An easy one is like, I want to know, for everyone listening, if you have an office, whether it's a classroom as your office or you're in a coaching role, maybe you have a more private office. I want to know how many degrees or certifications or badges you have hanging up on your wall, because it is a rarity that I go into classrooms and I see a classroom teacher, a 3rd grade classroom teacher, have their undergraduate degree, their master's degree, their Google certification, their, Teachers Deserve It Learning Hub badge. Those should be up because it does allow so many positive things to happen. Your students are looking around. That's amazing. Did you know that Miss Hughart got a master's degree? What does curriculum instruction even mean, Miss Hughart? Organic conversations. When your parents visit your classrooms, they're walking around, they want to feel like you are credentialed to be able to work with their child. How nice is it to be able to walk into a classroom and say, whoa, Bob, did you know Miss Hughart was in the Hall of Fame at Illinois State University? What? We got to ask her about that. What does that even mean? This is such an easy thing that we can do, and it can help with that feeling of purpose and value, and for sure a good step to get respect.
Yeah. Well, you've sold me on it for sure.
I don't know that I answered your question, but that one gets me every time.
Yeah, I love it so much. No, it's great. This has been such a good conversation. I feel like this is one of those, we could talk about this, like we could go on and on, because there are so many small things that I don't think we think about that have such a big impact. We see schools that are trying to do these big, massive things to make a shift in culture and climate, and it's not working for a reason. And the reason is it's not small enough, it's not attainable enough, it's not approachable enough, and we're not able to celebrate enough.
Yeah, and there isn't a strong KPI, right? Like so many educators or administrators or whatever, we're all coming in saying, we're going to be better in building student relationships. But very rarely then do we make sure that our goal is measurable so that we can, after 2 months, say, did we do it? Are we doing
Absolutely.
it? Is it working?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, and that's another conversation, girl. We have to stop at some point. So this has been so great. Tell our listeners where they can find you, how they can follow up, and what you hope they take away from this conversation.
Yeah, friends, I would love to connect. Obviously, connect with me. I'm just at Rae Hughart everywhere on social. But more importantly, go connect with the Teachers Deserve It family. Teachers Deserve It is a community, it's a movement, and we want you to be part of it. So feel free to, obviously you can follow Teachers Deserve It on all social platforms, but head to teachersdeserveit.com. That's where you can see the Learning Hub, the blog, the everything. So that's all there for you. And if nothing else, I just hope you feel seen from this episode. If nothing else, if we never interact again, our goal is to impact 1 million teachers by December of 2025, and we'll hit our goal. But more than anything, I just really hope you feel valued.
Yeah.
So, appreciate you.
That's awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Rae. This has been awesome.
It's an honor. Thank you again.
All right. We'll see you guys next time. Bye, everybody. Hey there, thanks for joining this episode. I would love for you to do me 3 solid favors before you head out. Number 1, subscribe to this show. I've got a lot of great guests and content coming up, and I don't want you to miss any of it. Number 2, share this show. Share it with your like-minded colleagues and friends and those leaders who are eager to build cohesive, vision-driven teams. And finally, connect with me on all the social media platforms. You can find me at Catch Up with Casey on Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Until next time, go off and create teams that leave people feeling inspired, empowered, and eager for more each day.